Thank you for hopping on to our virtual presentation today, Securing Your Future and the Benefits of a Type-A LifePlan Community. And what I wanted to say right off the bat is this program is being recorded. So anyone who isn't live on our call today can view this at a later time. And it's nice to see so many familiar faces. Many of you are on our current waiting list, and there's some new faces as well, so welcome.
The new face is not there.
So you're all gonna close your mics, and we're gonna run through the presentation. And if you have questions, and invariably you will, so just pop those right into the chat feature, and we'll cover those as they come. And I hope you do have questions. And if there's anything we didn't address that you'd like to know, please feel free to reach out to myself or Jeremy or Dan. We're happy to answer your questions. And today's presentation is really going to get into some of the nitty-gritty details of a life care contract. And I know that many of you are sort of out there comparison shopping. So you're looking at other communities. And the saying is, if you've seen one community, you've seen one. We're all a little bit different in how we operate and our culture. And RiverMead's been doing this for the past 30 years, operating in the Monadnock region. We have two campuses, the Mead and the Village. We have about 300 residents and about 300 staff. So today you'll be hearing from myself and some members of our clinical team as well. And you'll also get to hear from a resident perspective. So that's kind of a nice special touch to our program today. So the question is, what is a CCRC? And that stands for Continuing Care Retirement Community. And there's all kinds of things that term encompasses, and different styles of contracts and different styles of communities. So it's kind of like a generic term, but our industry recognizes RiverMead also as a life plan community. We'll get into that. So a CCRC, it's an insurance product. Regulated by the Department of Insurance. So New Hampshire State Department of Insurance looks at all of our operations. They look at our financials and they look at our books, and they make sure that we are delivering the promise and the contract that we have given to our residents. And what you are doing when I say a insurance product is you are prepaying for future care. So down the road, if you need care, you will receive it here at RiverMead at a price you can anticipate. It's the promise of that future care in assisted living, memory care, and nursing care, all here on our campus and delivered by our staff. A portion of your entrance fee and monthly fee may be tax deductible because it is considered a prepaid medical expense, which is a tax deduction. We'll talk about that a little bit more in depth later. So how do you evaluate a CCRC? There's so many things to consider while you're looking at communities, but here's a little checklist, and we're going to cover all these points today. So you want to look at living options. You want to sort of understand what does a community have to offer in terms of cottages, villas, floor plans, square footage. You want to look at healthcare services, and you want to know who the on-site clinical staff are, who's going to be taking care of you. And a big question is, are they there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, like we are here at RiverMead? Big question. You want to understand the financial structure and how the entrance fees and monthly fees work, and whether or not they have refundable options. You want to know a little bit about the residents and their satisfaction with our community. We're very transparent with all of that. Our residents are great spokespeople for our community, and they're happy to talk to perspectives And we do conduct an annual resident satisfaction survey. So we get ongoing feedback to make sure we're doing what we promised we do. You want to look at the community and the location, the greater community. Like, for example, here we'd be looking at the Monadnock region in Peterborough and sort of understand the outdoor spaces, what's available to you, if that's important to you, and access to culture. And that's one thing we definitely have going for us here at Peterborough is access to great cultural things going on. And then financial stability. So that's an important piece. And we'll talk a little bit about how you evaluate for that for all the non-CFOs here today. Okay, so the different types of CCRCs have different contracts, and there is a Type A Type B, and a Type C. RiverMead is a Type A. That's the most comprehensive package where everything is included here on our property, here on site, and you've paid for it up front. So you're not going to face additional fees for higher levels of care or for more services. A Type B contract has a lower upfront cost, but residents will pay sort of as they go for more service. It's also called a la carte pricing. A Type C is a lower entrance fee and monthly fees, but residents will pay the market rate for care when they need it. And it's more like a rental agreement where it's sort of like a month-to-month kind of agreement, not a long-term life contract like you sign here at RiverMead, that we're going to take care of you through the end of life. So Type A, B, and C. The benefits of a Type A are that it has that inclusive care. You know when you need it, it's going to be here. You don't have to search for it. You don't have to shop for it. It's been taken care of. Financial predictability. You know how much your monthly fee is going to be and what things are going to cost for you here if there's anything ancillary. Long-term stability. So, long-term stability as our organization, but it's also long-term stability for you with that life care contract. You know you'll get a high quality of care. It is the most expensive model, but care costs what it costs, and it's not inexpensive to have care. So we know that we provide high quality of care here and peace of mind. I'm going to do this a little bit different. Oh, sorry. Okay. Bear with me. Okay. So the entrance fee, I just want to talk a little bit about what an entrance fee is. So it ranges in price and it's tied to the square footage of your residence. So apartment, cottage, villa, they all have different entrance fees. And we have different styles of entrance fees. So this is a beginning plan. This is our starting price. And the traditional plan would be our least expensive option at $272,000. That's your entrance fee. Then we have refundable plans. There is a 50% refundable and a 90% refundable. The 90% refundable plan, starting at $500,000, means that after you're no longer living at RiverMead, 90% of that is refunded to your estate. That's money that we keep in reserve and we refund it to you, your trust, or your estate, after you're no longer living here. The same thing would go for the 50%. So that means for $364,000, 50% is refunded to your estate after you're no longer living here. Our traditional plan will spend down over a 4-year period, meaning that inside of 4 years, there still would be money refundable if you were to no longer live here or move out. That's another option too. Sometimes people decide that they love RiverMead, but their kids live in California, so that's where they're headed. So money is refunded inside of 4 years. And there is a $60,000 second person fee that you're going to add also to the entrance fee. That's not part of the refundability, but that is part of the life care contract. Then you have monthly fees. Our monthly fees are starting for one person under $5,000 a month. When you look at everything that is included here in our package, that is an affordable number in many ways. So that's just something that I think worth mentioning and considering when you're looking at communities and looking at what's affordable for you and all the things you get. 2-person monthly fee starting at $7,665. And the important piece of all of this is when you need care, when you need to make a move to care, the only additional charge is $28 a day. We call that our health center care package. $28 a day will cover a person for the 2 extra meals and their laundry. So when they're living independently, they get 1 meal a day, and then now they transition over to assisted living or memory care or respite care. $28 a day is the fee. So again, it's something that you can predict and count on. So the acceptance process. This is another peace of mind piece to all of this. We financially qualify people ahead of time. We use an actuarial software package. And so we look at your assets and income and your longevity, and we can get a percentage, a number that we know you have enough assets to support you living here for a long length of time. If you were to run out of money, no fault of your own, you didn't give away your money, we do have a benevolence fund to support residents to continue living here. That's part of our not-for-profit mission here at RiverMead. So you're financially qualified. That's peace of mind. That's something you can count on. We've been doing this for 30 years, so we're very comfortable with this process. Next step would be a health assessment. This is done prior to moving in. This is when you're actually ready to move in and you've identified a residence, and we do a health assessment with our nursing team. And they're just going to also make sure that you can live safely and comfortably in independent living. And they're going to do a memory test screening and have a conversation with you. It's not a physical exam. They get you release your medical information to us from your physician. They review that, and then they have a one-on-one conversation with you. And this is so you and your loved ones feel comfortable with the choice that you've made to come to independent living or assisted living or memory care. All right, the cost, predictability, and benefits of RiverMead. And I'm just going to pause here because Jeremy did such a good job putting this presentation together with this beautiful drone footage of our campus. It's so lovely. Of course, it's under snow right now, but nice to see the green here. So these are all things that I think are really important pieces to consider when you're paying those entrance fees and monthly fees. What's all included in that? So again, that future care tax benefit that affects you when you come to a community, that is a percentage of your entrance fee and a percentage of your monthly fee that are considered prepaid medical expense tax deductions. And we let everyone know in February, we put together our books and we know what that percentage is. So we give you that amount and you can use that when you're filing for your taxes. Our package of services and amenities. Again, this is something that you can plan and anticipate what we're going to cover for you. Meals, housekeeping, maintenance, healthcare. We have a great home budget comparison worksheet that Jeremy will send out at the end of the presentation. So you can take a look at really how much you pay to live independently and what you're paying for. And so much of that is included here, especially when you look at things like Xfinity, cable TV and internet, that's included. Our fitness center is included. You know, you wouldn't have to pay those kind of things. All kinds of services and amenities. So yeah, we'll get that out to you to take a look at. Home maintenance costs. We know these things are rising. It's more and more expensive to maintain a home. And even worse, it's harder to get people to work on your home, you know, to get people to come over and do these things, these projects for you. And I know that there's other things you'd rather be doing with your time. So that's all included here, as well as snow removal. RiverMead purchasing power. Our collective purchasing power gets us better pricing on heating sources, electricity, our bulk cable. And, you know, we are very tied to our budget, and we are very shrewd when it comes to this. We are negotiating the best possible pricing for things here to keep your fees down. It's an important part of all of this. Our employer power. We have 300 staff members here that we have brought in, we have oriented and onboarded, and they represent, you know, a whole slew of different departments here. So, and we are an employer of choice. So people want to come work for us. We've got great 401k benefits and training. So people want to come work here. Strong governance through our board of trustees who are looking to the future and planning for us at RiverMead. Our residence council, we have an active residence council that works with our management team to make sure that we're doing all the things that people want us to do here, bringing the amenities and services and all the things that people want to see our community be part of. It's a very resident-driven community, and our residents have a lot of say in how we do things. Best industry practices, membership with Leading Age, which is a national organization out of Washington, D.C. And it's a great organization for us to be part of, where we learn best practices and trends in senior living. So next up, we will do the financial health. And full disclosure, I am not like a super financial person here, but I do understand all of this. But we do have a CFO, Chief Financial Officer, Jamie Connolly. He is happy to speak to any of these. If people are interested in learning more nitty-gritty details, if you will, Jamie is available and we can put you in touch with him. Part of being part of a nonprofit is full disclosure of our financials. So anyone can ask for a copy of our audited financial statements. So one of the things that is looked at in senior living in CCRCs is occupancy. That is one of the signs of strength, financial strength. And a 95% occupancy is considered excellent. And 90 to 95 is considered good and stable. And as of our last quarterly financial report, end of September 2024, we were at 95.6% occupancy, which is above budget and compares favorably to our peers. Now, occupancy moves around a little bit, but I'd say we typically hover around 92, 93%. I've certainly faced higher levels here. At our original building, the Mead, when we were a strong 97%, and it was time to expand, right? You want to keep up with demand. So that's another piece of all this, but we're in good shape here for that. Our debt service coverage ratio. This is an important ratio that's used in nonprofits. And a debt service shows, it's a ratio that will show that we have sufficient cash flow to cover all our operating costs and our entrance fee refund obligations. Remember that 90% refund. When that comes about, we need to be able to pay that back to our families. So a ratio of 1 means that the organization's cash receipts cover all of our expenses, our entrance fee refunds, and our debt service, our creditors. And anything greater than a 1 shows a surplus. And that can be used for capital expenditures, reserves, and other items. And as of our last statement, our debt service covered ratio was 3.01. So that's really good, really strong. Another measure would be days cash on hand. And this is how much money do we have to pay all our expenses every day without taking on any new cash receipts. So you want that number to be strong. So as of our last quarterly financial, it was 397 days cash on hand. That's a strong number. Okay, so now I'm going to take it over to Dan Moore. He is our assisted living sales counselor.
Hi, everybody. I see some familiar faces, so that's good, and some blank squares, so I'm not sure if I know you yet. But yeah, as Jen said, I am the assisted living sales advisor. So I'm based over here in the health center. And what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about today was kind of the healthcare aspect and the assisted living. We have Jen Skelton, the director of nursing, who's going to talk some about the staffing and the care, but I wanted to highlight the health center and basically what we have to offer over here for you as you become an independent resident and transition over to the health center, what my role is, etc. So we have assisted living and memory support. In the village, we have 21 bedroom assisted living units. In the Mead, we have 47 assisted living apartments, and that's a combination of studio and one bedrooms. And then on the memory support side, we have 35 studio apartments. And out of those, we dedicate 6 units to a respite apartment on assisted living and 2 on memory support. And I'll talk to you a little bit about respite care and how that's used. And I know Jen's going to highlight that as well. Before I get into kind of some of those things, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the advantage of the pricing to piggyback on what Jennifer had said. So if you came in independent living and progressed through the continuum of care, you're going to be paying, your regular monthly service fee, as well as that $28 a day health center fee, which does include the 2 meals and the laundry services. So, in the case of if you looked at a 1-bedroom apartment, you would be saving an incredible amount over the market rate. So if you came in as a direct admit to a 1-bedroom apartment in the health center, you would be paying roughly $13,590. So if you contrast that with what the monthly service fee is as an independent resident who would need these services later in life, you see there's quite a bit of savings. And the one thing that COVID taught us and everything else is that healthcare costs just keep going up and up and up, and staying at home or having services come in is just getting more and more expensive. So it's always something good to consider. So with that, the list of services, if you could go back, Jen. So these are all things that are included in assisted living. Most of them, as Jennifer said, when you compare communities, a lot of them are going to be similar. The one thing I do want to point out is that we do offer 24/7 nursing care. And what that means is that on site, we have a nurse here 24/7. And then we have nursing support staff, LNAs, MNAs, PCAs. They are here 24/7 as well. If you contrast that with some of the other communities, you'll see that they have nurses on call 24/7. So that means that they're not there on site. So we already have a response time and more access to that care immediately if the need arises. And then the next slide, please. So these are some of the other services that we offer here at the health center. The nurse care coordinator, nurse practitioner, on-site therapy services. And as that note says, they're all billed through insurance. So you would just see your typical copay for these services. When Jen Skelton talks, she's going to go in a little bit deeper into what some of these services are and what they mean. But I am going to talk a little bit about the move-in process now and kind of skip to what my role is and how you how you would go from independent living to assisted living, and how some of these services come into play. So most of the concepts apply regardless whether you came in as a direct admit or through the continuum of care, so independent living to assisted living. So we're going to talk about these things in kind of a simple way and generalities. If you have any questions at all about any of this, again, feel free to contact us and I'd be more than happy to sit down and explain any of it. But to start with talking about an independent living resident coming to assisted living, probably 99% of the time, there's two scenarios that we have at play. The first one would be that for whatever reason, whether it's a social reason, whether it's physical, mobility may be decreasing, cognitively, there's a little bit of a decline. Whatever may be happening as an individual, living alone is becoming difficult. And living alone here at RiverMead is a little different than living alone out in the woods. There are people around, so there are people to help you, but still living alone, becomes a challenge. We like to kind of call it environmental press, like the act of just kind of doing your day-to-day life is getting really tough. And whatever the case may be. We do have some other services, with home health that can come in and assist, but let's just say you're getting to a point where it's just really hard. Well, we have a team it's an interdisciplinary team called the Care Coordination Team that meets with you. It's a collaborative process. We talk about the problems that may be arising. We talk about solutions, and ultimately, we work together to get, you in the best place so you have the best quality of life. So that could be a transfer to the health center and to assisted living or memory support. So what that is going to entail is moving from the independent apartment to the assisted living apartment. So I'm here to help you select an apartment, view different apartments, look at proximity to your neighbors and who you may know, and can you live next to somebody who maybe lived down the hall from you in independent living. But at that point, when we've made that decision, what we'll do is work together to measure furniture, get everything all kind of packed up and squared away, and we'll work on logistics of where anything extra may go. And then I will coordinate with facilities. We'll get everything moved. I coordinate with the nursing care to get medical paperwork and anything else we may need transitioned over to the health center. And we make the move. And the goal is to get you over to a scenario where you are Again, you have a quality of life. You no longer have to cook lunch and breakfast and get to meals quite the same way, because everything here is now being, provided for you. So some of that press is lifted. So there's more energy to go out and enjoy things, and there's more opportunities to be social with the activities. So the other way you might come into assisted living is through respite care. And what that means is, let's say an accident happened, or you had a slip and a fall and had an injury, and you were at the hospital or maybe even at home, but you just needed some temporary boost. You would come over to one of our dedicated respite rooms. We would coordinate all the medical care, and you would basically just temporarily become a resident over here at the health center. You would still pay that service fee, but you would receive all the nursing care you need. So this is going to avoid a needed trip to a skilled nursing facility for rehab, if because we have rehab here, or an acute care rehab. You'll be able to rehab here for, whatever period of time you need. Usually we like to think of them as short term, so usually they're around 2 weeks, but everything is different. And then we buff you up and send you home after you've done a home visit, and therapy has cleared you to be home alone. So you return back to your independent living apartment. Now, what happens if you're not buffed up and ready to return home? Well, then we work together on finding an apartment over here for you that suits your needs. And the whole process that I explained earlier happens. So we work together in getting, belongings, furniture moved over, work with your family, and get you really situated. So, that's kind of how the move-in process from independent living to assisted living works. A direct admit is kind of a similar situation. You're coming in from home, but instead of coming into independent living and moving through the continuum of care, you're coming directly into assisted living. And whether that's memory or, assisted living itself, we're identifying your needs. We're going to your home. We're working with you on what furniture to bring, etc. We're working with your medical team out in the community. We do what's called a CARES assessment. So we make sure that any issues you have or any concerns you have, we can address and we can take care of them. And then, we set up a moving date. I help you coordinate with that. We get you moved over. And at that point, you just become a permanent resident. So the direct admit is only different in the fact that I'm going out into the community versus down the hall to independent living. So, in essence, we try and make it as seamless for you as possible. And we want this to be a seamless transition. Of course, there's bumps along the way, and it's a big change, and there's a lot of different emotions that go around with changing your living arrangement. But what I like to think of is, you hear that concept of aging in place, and it gets thrown around a lot. Well, in this instance, aging in place means you are a part of RiverMead, and RiverMead is your community, and that's where you're aging. So whether you're an independent, assisted living, or memory support, you are a member of RiverMead. You might put your head in a slightly different place when you go to sleep, but you no longer have to think about moving to another facility, moving somewhere for the next step. You know, we're all here to assist you and make that move, you know, as seamless as possible. So with that, I'm going to actually turn you over to Jen Skelton, who's our Director of Nursing. She is going to talk about some of the healthcare offerings and elaborate on some of the options that we have and the nursing care and et cetera. So Jen, take
Thank
it
you,
away.
Dan. I'm Jen Skelton. I've been lucky enough to be here for 3 years. I feel very fortunate to be here. I know they gave me my slides, and our first thing we talk about is our staff. Our staff is exceptional. I know most places probably say that as well, but I've got a lot of very dedicated employees who are we've got some longevity amongst our staff. 20 plus years they've been here. They've been dedicated to RiverMead for all that time. I'm amazed when I come in the mornings and I see everybody smiling and happy to be here. I just think, wow, I'm just so blessed that they want to be here. So with that being said, we also do low resident to staff ratios. It's the lowest that I've seen it's the highest that I've seen. No, low resident to staff ratio. So we have lots of staff for our residents. Didn't want to say that backwards. This is the first place that I really think takes into account what the residents need and what they desire to have the staff on the schedule and on board to be able to meet those needs. As Dan was saying, we do have those three different neighborhoods. He was giving you numbers, those kind of spaces. They are all slightly different. You find out what best works for you and where you see yourself being. Dan does a really good job at making that switch and making you fit where you are. We do this, we provide services to our residents based on the wellness wheel. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with that wellness wheel, but it brings in dimensions of wellness, all the way from physical, emotional, down to spiritual, environmental. It's really a good way to tailor and personalize the care that we are able to provide. We do that through through daily interactions with the staff, as well as our life enrichment team that we have that boosts those things that are important to you. I know Dan already did say we did have the 24-hour nursing, but he is right. There's always at least one nurse here, even in the overnight, midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. There's usually more than one nurse. There's usually 3, but you always have a nurse, so you'll always get those nursing needs met. And if they need me, I'm available by phone like other places have, but we do have nurses on site all the time. There are other offerings that are offered for independent and our assisted living residents can all take part in these. The first one being Tembo Health, which is an online platform. I just saw something pop up in the chat, but there is an online platform that we're able to use that we get to talk directly to a provider. This is usually an urgent care visit. Tembo we think of as for urgent care. It can be any time. Y'all get to hospice care soon, Nancy, because we do that as well. The Tembo really has kept people out of the ER, avoiding unnecessary trips off the property. They're able to do a Skype call, they used to call them back in the day, showing my age. But we can do Zoom calls with doctors. They can give us prescriptions. They can give us great medical advice very quickly. They will work hand in hand with your primary care so that your health journey is not broken. We do have a nurse practitioner who is a local provider who does come here. We have a nurse practitioner who does come here once a week to just meet with residents. Anybody can see her. It's a very nice service that we offer. And if she's not going to be coming, that's when we would flip to Tembo for those urgent things. Dan also talked about our home health department. We've got a great home health department, helps bridge the gap between our independent living and our assisted living residents. They will do anything you need them to do, from washing your dishes to taking your blood pressure to flushing your ears, all the way to taking care of your pets. It's a wide variety. Really, we think of them as trying to maintain your independence as long as you can, just with a little extra help with those activities of daily living. Wellness clinic is something that we offer twice a week. It's a open office, and anybody can come down and talk to the nurse. They could talk to, about anything they want. Usually it is medical, but not always. That is just a service that we provide just to kind of keep everybody in the loop and getting that care that they need. Foot clinic, they will trim your toenails. They don't paint them, even though I've asked about that, but they will give you a nice buff and shine. And if you need any further care with your doctor, that all gets sent to your doctor. Dermatology clinic, they do come and see people here. We're lucky enough to have a great exam room where anybody can, come see the dermatology clinic. That's also where our foot clinic is. Let's see. Yeah, our emergency response system for independent residents. Like I said, it's nothing like whatever I've had anywhere else. It is truly an emergency response system. You push your pendant and somebody is going to come to you. A lot of times, depending whoever is there closer goes there first. A lot of times it could be a receptionist, but they are going to be triaging for a nurse as soon as they know what they need. Yeah, this really talks mostly about independent, but I know that there's a lot of people, with our respite stays, we are lucky enough to be able to provide skilled nursing services in an assisted living setting so that our residents, as Dan said, don't need to go to a skilled nursing home to get services. They're able to come back to their home here at the health center and get those services. Those services, because we have a nurse on 24/7, could be wound care, feeding tubes, any kind of complex medical cases, and also hospice, as somebody's question came up. We can manage, we do manage people that that are fully dependent with their care needs. We do provide care for life here. Once you are one of our residents, you will stay here. We do hospice care here. You have the choice of what hospice you want to go with. There are 3 right now in the area, and we've used all of them. This is your home, and we want you to be able to stay here right through the end. We will work with hospice to provide you the care that you need. Those respite stays Dan talked about, if you're to have scheduled hip surgery, you don't have to go to a nursing home to get that care you need. All you have to do is come back here, and we are going to get you the services through therapy that you need right here. We're going to get you those nursing services you need for wounds, like wound care after that hip surgery. You're going to be able to do everything here. It is going to be managed by your doctors. So your care team is going to be the one giving us the orders that we will be following. So it is a seamless transition from the hospital to us. When we talk about our respite care, I know that Dan was saying other facilities. A lot of other facilities are unable to manage the mobility needs of some as they increase. We have a variety of lifts here that we can use to safely transport residents from one place to another. We also offer 1- and 2-person assists. It's just part of the care of living here. There's no extra fees for that. That's just what we do. And our nurse care coordinator is a really nice addition we have to our team. She's new to us, but not new to the role, really helping Dan find the best place for people to be. I guess that's the end of my slides, but I'm sure that there will be some questions. We do have Kathy Gray now, who is a resident, who is also going to tell us about our welcome committee. Are you there, Kathy?
I am, just had to unmute.
Perfect.
Well, I came to RiverMead 3.5 years ago, and that was as the pandemic was really winding down, and RiverMead brought together a group of residents and said, how can we make this better? And we decided that having a welcome committee of residents who could frame the program that a new resident would most like or benefit from would be the way to go. So we have a dozen residents who are a part of that team. We have developed a number of tools and resources that the host, who's individually chosen for each person or couple coming in, they have a number of resources, and their host is really with them through their transition, and whatever it takes, but they're showing them around and explaining different activities and making sure that if they have special dietary needs, they know who to talk to, or just trying to make sure that they get connected with the services they need, get to the fitness center if that's on their list of, I'm going to take advantage of that. Their host is a great resource for getting them connected to all that is here at RiverMead. One of the things that I think is really important, and talked a little bit about aging in place and perhaps being on your own in your home. I've found, my husband and I found that coming here has been such a great benefit in terms of, after a community that was based, at least for me, at my work, I now have a huge community of both neighbors and friends and staff. And it really is a great environment to be in our senior years. I finally have time for those friendships and to do more social things. And, so it really is so nice to be such a community and to be able to support each other if there's something that someone is struggling with. Their neighbors are there, and also RiverMead has resources that can help someone through a tough time. It truly is community, and I more than I really expected. And the other thing is that everyone is different, but finding something meaningful in your new community, I think, is really important. And there are many opportunities to serve or to do as part of a committee, as a volunteer in the health center, or in one of the activities in independent living, and in the community. And RiverMead helps us to connect with our new home community and be as active as we want to be.
And just a plug for Jennifer Skelton and her team. What a lovely, warm, welcoming team. And we're so lucky to have them. Yeah, good. And Kathy too, thank you so much. You gave such a nice explanation of what you all do. And just I want to reinforce the concept of living a life of purpose. And that can be done here at RiverMead. People come here and they continue on with the things that they are interested in, passionate about. They're giving back to our community and to the greater society. And I know that's really important for people. So thank you for mentioning all that.
Yeah,